What we do at the American, or what we do from the P&I perspective, is that basically we are in a position where most ship owners are being able to tell us what actual experiences that they have in regulations, in violations, in fines, and concerns that they have with regard to shipping, whether it's environmental, whether it's safety, whether it's security type matters. As it relates to things on the environmental side, what we do is that they tell us about particular problems that they have. We interface with them, but what we do is we focus much of our attention on what seafarers need to know on board ship. From the P&I perspective, we want to make sure that seafarers are well qualified, well experienced, and knowledgeable and competent in what they actually do in order to comply with international regulations, whether it's for the United States, or whether it's for the EU, or anywhere around the world. So what we do from the American P&I perspective, we actually do a lot of development on tools for training, on VGP, Vessel General Permit, on the annexes of MARPOL, all 6 annexes of MARPOL, as well as on any other environmental related matters that we see, as well as safety matters. Because what we see our position as in an opportunity to be able to get a perspective from many ship owners and then come up with what we think are the best solutions to assist them on environmental compliance. The one thing we also know the issue with regard to seafarers and finding competent seafarers and being able to keep them well trained and well motivated in a difficult freight market, but under the conditions now that we have, whether it's difficult conditions, whether they're good conditions, okay? Ships must transport all kinds of goods around the world. As I've heard many times, if shipping wasn't in operation, half the world would freeze and the other half would starve, okay? So the point with that is that we have seafarers who no matter at what level they are, it's our obligation as the industry, whether it's on the ship owning side, whether it's on the P&I side, regulatory side, to make sure that those seafarers who do go to sea are very well trained. So that's again the focus that we have at the American Club, is training and it's providing the tools to train seafarers to bring them up to a competency level to be able to comply with all the regulations, safety, security, and in particular on environment, with all the additional focus on environment in this day and age.
Do you think that the new buildings, the new ships have an advantage to the older ships according to the new regulations?
On fuel efficiency, and particularly with regard to environmentally, absolutely. Engines are much better built, the efficiency of engines. With regard to the ships overall, I see within the last few years we see no major change. Again, the basic issue is the people who are working on board ships. We spend millions of dollars on ships, and then we want to go cheap on actually using the seafarers that we want to use to go on board. So we want to find the cheapest seafarers. That's not the approach. If we have these multi-million-dollar assets, what we want to do is have competent crews, qualified crews, to actually operate these assets. Because the biggest costs come from fuel, which is dealt with now with the new efficient ships, and also with crew. In particular, with regard to the U.S. Coast Guard, for example, have their matrix for a matrix they use with regard to port state inspection, and that matrix takes age, ship types, class, flag into consideration. I do think that they are less likely to look at under a microscope newer ships as they would older ships, but the U.S. Coast Guard does have a culture of understanding that it's the crew and the competency of the crew, so they can go on board, and if they don't hear what they need to hear from a competent crew, understand what they're doing on board ship, even if it's a brand new ship, they will spend more time in scrutiny looking at that vessel. They can go on an older ship and they talk to the crew who clearly know what they're doing and clearly are competent and clearly show that they're very aware of their environment that they're working in, and they wouldn't spend much time. So yes, it is a factor, new ships, but they're very much focused on crew.